Hi, and welcome back to Designer Plays. This is Cities by Design, episode 4. We're going to take our park from blank and boring to start something in this episode. So let's begin by quickly zoning this park area. In previous episodes I have spoken about putting the park entrance at the bottom, but after review I think that putting it at the top will be a much more practical spot to put it, due to this being closer to the exit from the main road. This is one of the issues that you have when you start to make your park area, is that you only have access to so many of these items. It makes it much easier when you're designing something to have all the information, but it's actually not always the case that you will have all the information, so this game's pretty accurate in that fact. But it means that when we start our layout, we're not going to get to an end result. It's going to keep adapting as more of these assets become available. So when we draw these paths, it's going to be with the mind of what's to come and creating something which is an enjoyable walking experience, even though we know there's more to be added. It's going to work really well for the residents, so we want to make this an enjoyable walking experience that they can take instead of walking on the roads, on their route to the school, or on their route back to the commercial zone. So to get started with designing this park area, I think it's best to start with what we do know, which is that we have these plazas, we have the info booth, and how do we want them to be laid out. So initially I think that we want this plaza to be the main feature as you walk in. This is going to be the central point of the park. I will simply use Move It mod in order to get these paths to encompass the plaza as much as possible. Now that we have these paths surrounding the plaza laid out, we can see that we have two routes that will come from this, which gives us a starting point to create the rest of the paths. When you're used to actually designing within buildings, I hate these winding paths. Normally I like the curves that I put in to have very specific reasons. Otherwise there's no point, because most buildings have straight walls. But you actually know that when you finish this park area, these are all going to make sense, and you have to think about it with the end goal in mind. We're also very lucky that this is actually a game and that we can go back and easily move them to where we need them to be. Honestly, I could play around with these curvy walkways all day, but we are going to add in these assets and start to make sense of why we've done what we've done and potentially tweak them. I definitely want to add in these little food stalls at each of the corners. Generally these spots are good because they allow people coming from multiple directions visibility of that food stall. I deal with a lot of brands in my day-to-day work and have to think about where the main signage, where the smaller projecting signs need to go, and really what that visibility is like and how to make that booth or store look as attractive as possible, not only in terms of aesthetics but also functionality. So in this park we'll place most of these food stalls facing towards the entrance gates in order for people outside the park to see them and be enticed to come in. We will also place some of these tables and chairs and the kids' playpen to create an active, busy, exciting area. couldn't help myself to make a few tweaks, add a few different walking directions, alternative routes. As I think to the reason why I actually wanted to park here in the first place, it was because of all the trees, but in this game, due to adding the paths, adding the assets, a lot of those trees are actually gone. We'll bring them back by using this tree brush to make it feel like the park's got more life to it and that there would be more wildlife living in there. And generally just to make it a much more enjoyable walking experience. The tree brush doesn't always fill the space or make it look quite how you wanted it to, so we'll just add some single trees in on a roll. Then add some of these colourful ones in too. Okay, so this was a bit of a shorter video today, but we can already see that by adding in the trees, the assets, the park's already looking better and that the pathways make a bit more sense. And that's only going to improve as we add more and more of the unlocked assets. In the next episode, we will be looking at expanding our residential area and creating a new neighbourhood across the highway. It'll be a much longer episode than this one. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, and there'll be more content on the way. See you in the next episode.